Strike a Chord, music chit-chat with your host, Valentino Kikowski. Welcome to Strike a Chord Podcast. Today we have Desmond Mase, a very eclectic and a great upcoming artist. Desmond, welcome.
Valentino, it is great to be here, and you said it right. You said the last name right. Thank you very much. I've been called worse things, but Desmond Mase, you are on. You are 100% on.
Well, you know, with the E and the thing on top, I get confused myself. So. But it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Now, Desmond, it's really good to have you on. It's a pleasure. I've heard some of your stuff, and it's very eclectic. It's a blend of rap. It's a blend of loop. It's a blend of this, blend of that, and I did a bit of research. You're a bit of a film nerd or a film buff as well. Now you've mixed in this with that, and you're coming up with a really cool sound, man. So,
thank you, Valentino. You're very kind. Thank you.
No, it's great. Let us know about who Desmond is. What are the inspirations there?
So, all right. So, yeah, you're not wrong. I am 100% a film nerd. And for the people who, if you listen to the tracks, there are a few Easter eggs in there, like a few like movie quotes or something that like some of the sci-fi heads might be like, oh, all right, I know what he's talking about there. Or that's a clear reference to that. But like it's when it comes to inspirations, there is so many. But for this type of art music that I'm creating, I wanted to sort of focus on, because I am very eclectic, so you're hearing me like rap over like heavy beats and then like guitar riffs and like little sort of weird electronic soundscapes, and it kind of like one of the main inspiration for the current music is these sort of sci-fi movies.
Okay.
And the reason is because as a kid growing up, I was inspired by everything, like pop music, like all those compilation, like, 100% hits and Hit Machine, all that. Had all those, but that was my mum's side. We had all those, Celine Dion, Mariah Carey, Michael Jackson, all the pop music. Then on my dad's side, it was Queen and David Bowie.
On the other side of the spectrum.
And that's where they kind of went off into these sort of weird, like, what would you call it? You'd call it like concepts and themes and things like that. Because you hear some Queen albums, it's like, oh no, we're clearly talking about we're singing about outer space and things like all sort of crazy things like that. And look, I traveled a lot as a kid, so music and film were the one sort of consistent. So I lived in like Papua New Guinea, lived in Africa, lived in Australia, went to England a lot, Southeast Asia. It was just a lot, but the consistent was the pop music, the Queen and the David Bowie, and the sci-fi movies, because for me, sci-fi movies gave me, everywhere I went was different. So like living in Africa, the people that I'm going to school with look different to the people when I'm living in like central Queensland or rural Victoria. Sci-fi movies gave me, and it was kind of weird to think about it, but they gave me this sort of space where I'd look at it and it was inclusive without any sort of song and dance. It was like, oh no, just in the future, there's on the bridge of the Starship, there's like this person who looks like that. There's that person who looks like that. There's that person who sounds like that. And it was kind of like, it's like, I didn't really clock onto it like as a kid, but now I'm sort of like, oh yeah, it's kind of looking at this space where it didn't sort of matter what you did, what you brought to the table was more important than what you looked like. And that wasn't being reflected in certain places that I'd grow up. But I'm trying to be very diplomatic about this, but yeah. Like,
no, that's however you think it.
Yeah,
that's what we want to know. We want to get a bit of an insight into your head. So
Valentino. So like literally, sci-fi movies influence me so much more than other movies because a lot of the time you will look at it, and it's about the future, and there's just a diverse range of characters.
Okay.
Where else, like, if I lived in, when I did live in, say, rural Victoria, parts of Queensland, even when I was in England and things like that, there wasn't as diverse a cast of the population that I'd be in.
Yeah.
So sci-fi movies always felt like home.
So to me, it sounds like it was an outlet.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was an outlet. You're going into this world of your own.
Yep. 100%.
And this is where you can think about and do things that you can't really do in other places, right?
Yeah. To like,
and hence your inspiration towards music and everything that sort of like.
Well, yeah, that was like, especially with the Queen and David Bowie, it was like very much genre um, it was like it was still rock or whatever, but it was still a hybridization of genres.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, oh no, we're just doing this sort of music, this sort of music. It's like, oh no, you listen to an album, it's like, oh, there's clearly electro here, and then there's
You've got a bit of everything.
Yeah.
Those things are that's why they're so popular, and those artists were pretty much like yourself. They were probably in another world as well. They were in the world of their own, and they got their inspiration from somewhere as well. And when they when they get to record that stuff, when you're in the studio, you're sort of like transcending yourself there as well. You know?
Well, yeah.
Do you find that when you're recording as well?
Yeah. When I'm writing, like I understand what I do is like it is a bit left, but those artists that I loved, you sort of listen to one album and then you listen to an album that they might have made 12 years later, and it's like, oh, this is a different genre, but it's still like there's still that stamp of like, oh,
they've got the trademark on it,
yeah,
but it's different.
Yeah, but if you to show two Queen songs to like a young person who'd never heard them before, they might be like, oh, this is two different bands or whatever. But there's still that sort of like, oh no, there's Freddie's voice, or there's
the Bowie trademark in there.
There's a personality there, even though the lanes it's in might not be always the exact same. So
as a young kid, was it film, and then music came, or was it film, music, and sort of like looked at it seriously as a kid? How where did the music come in? Where did you start the journey of the music? Of the actual music that you're producing. When did you start that journey?
Like, oh well, I guess it took me a long time to sort of actually apply myself to anything, because I would just do this, whatever. Do art, music, sport as well. Yep. But I guess it was film more so. It was storytelling. It was storytelling. Okay. So it was world building. So I guess this goes back to the sci-fi nerd in me. But yeah, it was world building, because it's like, oh no, I can sit in a treehouse in Southern Africa and just pretend that, oh no, I'm behind the deck of like a spaceship or something. Like it was like creating, it was storytelling, it was world building, it was I don't know, just improvising with whatever I had. So it was probably the visuals more so. But the thing is, and neither of my parents are musicians. They're not like, we weren't like a musically, in terms of performing or constructing. We just sort of appreciated, we just sort of consumed music a lot. We consumed a lot, but neither of them were like, oh, Des, here's a scales, There was nothing like that. So it was film and world building and storytelling first.
Okay.
And then I sort of got put into a few school choirs and a few school plays and things like that. And if I was honest, I was like, oh, I kind of just want to go outside and like play football with the lads. Like, no, Des, you have to do this little solo thing. Like, you're really good, whatever. God, that sounds pretentious. But yeah, it was like, oh no, you're really good. And I sort of realized that, oh no, there's like, I do enjoy this. It like, even though my music teacher was like, no, you have to do this solo now for like, Pied Piper or something, or like for one of the school plays. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And I enjoy doing it. And it seems that I'm not terrible at it.
And that's a good thing that you're probably a bit more you're pushed into it, but they showed you a bit of structure, I think, and then they showed you a bit of, you know what, if you try it and if you do it like this, you might like it.
Yep.
That's what usually music teachers do.
Well,
try it a little bit, a bit of this, they see a bit of talent there. Oh, what about this, what about that? If you like it, and then all of a sudden you might be hooked.
Yeah, well, the thing is, Valentina, so talking about music, it's more so just the singing in the plays, but because I studied like trumpet and I studied saxophone, and by studied I'm playing very fast and loose with the term studied. Like I did it for maybe a year, and it just wasn't for me because
that's great. You did it for a year,
but it was so structured, and it was like, oh, it was a chore. It was kind of a chore.
Okay.
So it was sort of like, oh no, I don't like doing. Like I did it for a year, and it was great because my parents, bless them, they were happy to put up with me, just playing hot cross buns, 3 blind mice on a saxophone one year, then like the next year is on the trumpet doing it. But they knew that like I didn't really enjoy that just because it was so structured. It was so, all right, we have to learn these. Or else when it was like getting on stage to sing a line, and even though, it's the same lyrics every night or whatever, you can still sort of express it. You can ham it a bit more and put a bit more of this. So it wasn't so much, all right, notes in time. in sequence. It was sort of like, all right, you can sing this lyric, sort of stick to the kind of melody, but you can sort of have a bit more fun with it, like the
So
way
you got bitten
express
by
it.
the stage bug.
Yeah, it's really weird. And it wasn't, but it wasn't, I didn't have stage parents or I didn't have anything like that. It was just like, oh no, this
But
is
you
kind of
enjoyed
cool.
the stage presence.
Yeah, oh, dude, I was milking it up there.
And that's a different ball game altogether, right?
Yeah.
You can have musicians that are out of this world and everything, and they don't want to get on stage.
Yeah.
They can record, they can do session work and everything like that, and then you get some artists that are made for the stage,
Yeah.
and that's what you sound like.
Well, I think it's what I Valentino, you're
Getting
very
up on
kind.
stage and entertaining people and making them feel really good, and that's a certain energy that a certain person has. Not everyone can do it.
Yeah, oh, you're far too kind. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
It's hard. And
Well-
you don't have to be an academic, a music academic, to actually be on stage and have that energy and produce that energy. You have to be that sort of a person.
Yeah. And look, I'll be honest with you, there is definitely footage out there somewhere of me warbling and wailing and just not hitting the right notes, but having a damn good time up on stage.
Hey, that's
so hopefully
a big
nobody ever
thing,
sees that. But yeah.
You know. So but the thing is, I think as artists, and I think sometimes we forget to have a bit of fun because we're out there, we're trying to do this performance, we're trying to hit the right notes, play that thing that we're playing perfectly. Sometimes we overanalyze and we overlook the having fun part.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
And then there was always this one person that will bring the fun on stage, and
Yeah.
that person, everyone will feed off their energy, and that's the person that people want to watch.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are a lot of musicians that are introverted. They'll go and are phenomenal musicians, and they'll do something, or they'll play something. You think, as a musician, you think, oh my God, they're out of this world. But the normal person is going to say, oh, he or she's just sitting there and they're just playing. Whereas this guy is jumping up on stage and everything, and he's feeling the energy. That's very important, Desmond.
Yeah.
As a stage person and as what they used to call them frontmen or front people, it's very important to have that stage presence, because that stage presence, the people want to see that, and they're going to come back for more,
Yeah. I'll preface this by saying I was a performer before I was a musician. Let's do it that way.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that,
So I'd be at like, there'd be a singing school and we'd have concerts, and I'd be like, Desmond's, and this brings me back, but I'd actually have like the chopped off half microphone. You know how you see like Freddie Mercury or Robbie Williams, where it's like,
the half of the stand.
Yeah. So and the thing is, one of the worst like singers in the music school concert, but I was having the most fun out there because I was just like belting it out and like prancing around and having a good time. So people be like, "Oh my goodness, that was great." I'd know that there was singers who were just that were incredible, that were hitting all the notes, but they'd just sort of be very
Reserved,
static. Very
reserved,
static. Well, they'd probably be focusing on hitting the notes, and they'd be hitting the notes.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm just dancing around, sort of having a good time, and I'm hoping that that people could see, he's connected to that song, and hopefully he's expressing that and connecting with me in the joy that song is. I don't know
You're spot on with that.
Yeah.
And I can say that because I'm a musician. When I play music, I'm not like that. I'm there to hit every note, and I'm there to play and to produce that energy with my playing. That's very hard, right?
Yeah.
Producing that thing, is more natural for some and less natural for others, and I can just tell by your personality now. You can go out there and rip it on stage, Whereas some people will need to sort of like warm up to it, they'll get out there and they'll warm up to it. And now halfway through, I'm now, and that's when they get stuck into it. But look, credit to you, if you can go out there and just bang it out and have the confidence, that's great.
Yeah. 100. Yeah.
That's great. That is what people see as well. And they think, you know what? There's something there. There's a spark there, or there's something there, And that's where, earlier on, let's say the big producers, or, back in the day, or talent scouts, they used to see that. And that's with, we could probably make money with this person, or we can, we can help this person get to the stage where they need to get, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's hard to have that quality. So that comes sometimes natural, you know.
Well, yeah. I like. Oh, I don't like talking about myself, but yeah, it's like. All right, so let's put it this way. I had an incredible, like, one of my first ventures into songwriting, like, as part of a band. I had an incredible co-writer who was pretty much the opposite of me. So, like,
Okay.
he was very reserved and quiet, and he'd like put the chords out and put the scales out and be like, "Oh no, these are the notes we can do. These, or else I was just like, whatever, just play, and I'll just ham over the top of it. So it's sort of, there's no right or wrong. It's more so just knowing how much of you can be. And the thing is, my my initial like collaborator and co-writer Z, shout out to Z if he's watching, but we were kind of very opposite in like our personalities.
But that works sometimes.
But being together, I learned more about structure and things like that from him. And then he started dancing around with the guitar and things like that, because he was the guitarist, I was the singer.
You're rubbing off on each other.
Yeah, and it was just sort of like, all right, everybody's different. It's just, you just need to be in the space where you can feel as much you as you, and then people can sort of, like, they can sort of gravitate to the authenticity that's coming on. So, like, nobody's ever come into a Desmond Mase show and thinking, oh no, I'm going to hear some incredible pitching. they thought, oh no, there's going to be a bunch of dancing around. There's going to be a lot of chatter and banter in between songs and talking about,
People like that. That's engagement.
Well,
You're engaging.
Hopefully,
so people love that sort of stuff. If I could be more like that, I'd be a lot better on stage. But that engagement with the people is very important. And if you've got that, mate, credit to you.
Yeah.
You know? With your approach though, because you mentioned writing and you mentioned your collaborations and stuff like that, your approach when you're writing. Do you hear melodies then lyrics, or do you have lyrics then melodies, or do you have someone else working on your melodies? What's your approach?
It's gonna sound so cliche. It is different all the time. I know, talking to other collaborators, I know that I probably hear melodies less than someone else might hear melodies, just because I grew up just with lyrics. Like I'd sit and read liner notes and lyrics and all that. So it is probably more so it tends towards the lyric side.
Okay.
Sometimes there'll just be a phrase and it's like, oh no, I can
elaborate on that. Or
elaborate, flesh that out. Because it's like, oh, that's a cool phrase. Oh, let's make a song out of it. I don't really hear things in like chord changes. Like I had an injury. I did my ACL, so like for that summer I just taught myself guitar.
Okay.
Very basic open strings guitar. Like nothing.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's a plus. That's a positive.
Yeah, because I was like, all right, well I can't move, so I'm just gonna
might as well have
stuck
something.
at home.
Have an instrument in your hands.
Yeah. So I'll I just play your basic C, A minor, G, all that sort of stuff.
That's all you need sometimes. That's all you need.
And that would give me more ideas. All right, I can bounce off these notes in here. And it was all things that I'd learned, at music school. You sort of do these, you sort of, yep, that's that equals that. Yep, tick, pass,
formulas and
that.
stuff.
Yeah. But just having that gave me like the ability to translate, like to speak the language of Z, my guitarist at the time, and be like, oh, all right, here, I've got this, and then I can sing over that. But when it comes to like, if it's just me, no collaborator, no co-writer, it probably does start more with a lyrical idea than a melodic. Like 100%, it's not really a melodic idea. It's just sort of maybe there's a phrase, and then I'll just sort of repeat that over and over again. Yeah. And then how can you connect something to it? How
play
some words over that?
Yeah. Which is fine. There's a lot of people out there that are the opposite. Melody, and then I'm rubbish at lyrics.
Yeah.
But melodies, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
When you're a guitarist and when you're, when you've got the guitar in your hands a lot longer than you have lyric abilities, I think it's just a natural progression where you just do a melody and then get someone to do lyrics, over it.
Yeah.
It's easier for me, but for you, it's the other way around.
Well, so I've been very fortunate to work in some rooms, like at songwriting camps and things like that, and sort of see how other people do it and see how like other professionals do it. You know what I mean? Like out of the garage and into like a studio sort of setting. And it's like we talk about, oh, this is good and all that. It's like the best rooms are when, say, there's 3 people in there. They all feel safe enough to express themselves however they want to. So sometimes it is like, oh no, I feel this is the guitar lick that I'm really strongly, and then it's like, all right, cool. Here's the vocal, here's the lyrics I want to do, and then the producer can be like, all right, well, let's put it onto this beat. But like, it's some of the most incredibly like moving times are when I'm with someone who's not like me at all and has a whole different approach to doing things. Because then you're like, oh wow, I see that's how you think about it. And this is, so I work in a studio. I created freelance in a studio as I started out being an audio engineer, but it's kind of vibe merchant is the job title now, because it's just, I remember my mentor, my boss, was sort of like, oh, Des, the band's just kind of like having you there. but what I learned was, it wasn't because, it was more so just because I'd ask him questions about, oh, hey, why did you write this way? Or why this lyric? Or why that? And it's sort of like open up the whole room so everybody could discuss why they were putting what they were putting, and they felt safe putting that out. Because sometimes when I was just an audio engineer, like not just an audio engineer, I'm a terrible audio engineer, but when my sole purpose was to mic up drums and things like that, I'd still be in the rooms, not in a creative sort of capacity, just sort of, I'm going to mic up the drums, I will set the amps up, I'll do that. And I'd sort of see rooms and I'd feel, I think this came from moving around a lot, but I'd feel the atmosphere of like, oh, these people aren't all totally comfortable with each other yet. Thus, the art that they're making it's not expressing their true selves. And I just sort of noticed that, because I was talking to another musician about this, but I knew that I moved around every 2.5, 3 years. So I became very adaptable in sort of situations, because I'd have to read the room and be like, all right, here's the dynamic between these people. Here's the dynamic between these people. You change schools every 2 years. You're always the new kid. So you sort of have to, you just have to assess the terrain. So I was speaking to another musician who actually did the same sort of thing. They moved around like, oh, Des, it's sort of, you just have to gauge what's the right way of going about this. And sometimes you're in studio and it's a long day. And it's like, let's just go like kick a footy around in the park for an hour. Or let's do this, or let's do this, or let's
switch off a little bit.
Yeah.
And then switch on later.
Yeah. Because sometimes it was, and I guess that just came from always moving around. But that sort of, when my mentor said, oh, the band's kind of like being around you, it was because I'd sort of get in, and I'm assuming I'd be able to sort of like assimilate into like, all right, who needs more encouragement? Like who needs to have their voice highlighted, but not in like let's all listen to this person, but like to try to make natural, I don't know, just a natural sort of ability for everybody to feel comfortable. Just everybody to sort of be like, I want to express, I can feel this. And the thing is, when I was solely there as a production assistant, just miking up instruments and things like that, I sort of learned quickly, oh, all right, this is interesting. And then I got into the creative part. My mentor, he invited me to a songwriting camp, and it was like, oh, since I've been in rooms where people aren't so free to express, I kind of know that no, we have to leave in 6 hours everybody happy with what they expressed. I don't want, we don't want I don't want any uncertainty. This is what I do in like all my relationships, all that. I don't want any uncertainty. Say what you want to say. Feel free to say what you want to say, and express yourself, because then the art, the music, the collaboration, the whatever, there's like a sort of unwritten, like there's a real, like a heavy authenticity and credibility and ownership of it as well. Like if you sort of go in and you're sort of like, all right, cool, let's just make a fun dance song, and that's fine. People like to dance. People love to dance. It's like, all right, cool, that sounds like that. But when you are truly like going from inside, and this is how I feel about myself, or this is how I feel about the situation, or the heartbreak or the longing, whatever it is, you really, when you perform that, you connect with that more. And even if you're not even if the singer's singing lyrics from someone else, if that person, if the co-writer or the top liner has said, oh no, this is why I'm writing this, because I feel like the performer can then convey the emotion that the lyricist had or whatever. So yeah, it's just like it was just really interesting for me to sort of start off in rooms and see how things might not be so conducive to like collaboration, and then sort of get in rooms and be like, oh, I don't feel like a total stranger here because I'm trying to make everybody feel.
You're on the very right track there, because especially going into a studio, and with session musicians, they don't know people. So, and I can relate because I've been a session musician before, and it's hard to gel.
Yep.
So, you're having that trait can make a difference between a good album or a good track and a great track.
Yeah. Oh, I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah, I think so, because the energy is very important, Desmond. It's very important. If you have energy in there that is a bit lull and a bit this, you're going to go in there, you're going to play something, and you're going to get the hell out.
Yeah.
Whereas what I'm hearing from you is that when you're there, people actually are getting that vibe, getting that positive vibe, and opening up the tensions, getting less and less and less, and you play better, you know.
Yeah, and like, don't get it twisted. It's definitely like Valentine. It's not like I'm saying there were bad rooms or there was tension or there was like animosity, but it was just like
no.
Oh no, there's a block between.
Yeah, I get you. There's that
complete expression. Like,
there's
like just a little roadblock there. It's.
And you just open up the gate a little bit, you know? And it just flows. And that flow is very, very, very important. Yep. Now, with your latest single as well.
Yep, Revel.
All right. It's very eclectic, and it's very, it's not what you expect. Like when I watched it, and I'm watching and I'm hearing different things. I'm watching something different. I'm hearing something different. How did you get that effect? How did you come to that inspiration? Because when you're watching the YouTube clip, you're watching something, but I'm hearing something different as well. It's not. It's a really good thing, because you're watching something, but that sound, that thing, it's very eclectic. It's very, it's nearly a different genre.
Yeah. Oh, well. All right. So, Valentina, should we break down? Do you want to break down the music, like the musical part first, and then
sure.
Let's visual.
Let's break down. Let's break the musical part.
All right. So the musical part. So yeah, I'm a live loop artist. I'm sure you've seen live loop artists. Beatboxing and then electric guitar, all that. The musical part, the lyric is very much, all right, I'm seeing things, and like the lyric is very much like a statement of, all right, this is where I am in this, let's say the music industry, or this or this sort of this universe or whatever. And it's like, oh no, I don't really sound like anything else. And I've seen, for lack of a better word, I've seen other people try to sound like something else. And to put it bluntly, if you're trying to sound like someone else, you're not going to overtake them and sound more like them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
that's
you're
right.
You're always going to be that. So I was like, all right, so this is me. There's a lyric in there, like, too urban for the pop folk, too pop for the rock folk, too rock for urban folk. Because it was like, all right, what is this guy doing? Like, is he singing pop songs, or is he singing like rock and roll, or is he like urban? I like is just a generic term that they used to use for like black people music. So it'd be like, oh, is it soul or is it rap? Oh, it must be urban. But yeah, it was very much like a lyrical statement of, all right, I know I don't belong in a certain pocket, which thankfully you're seeing less of. Like you're seeing less like deliberately, like genres, as I said before, genres are all hybridized now. It's not just like, oh, you're the rock group.
Correct.
Oh, you're the hip hop guy. Oh, you're the pop, like
isn't it like Spotify, or was it Spotify that has so many genres, so many categories now that they can't even manage it themselves?
Yeah, well, it's good because it means the people, because I love talking to people in the audience who might not know me. So not my friends, like someone who's just at the bar, and I'm like, all right, cool. What does it sound like? Because I love hearing their interpretations of what it sounds like. 'Cause that says what they would have listened to and what they sort of vibe with. But the lyric for Rebel, it's very much, oh no, I know I'm not belong here, or I don't belong in this certain pocket, but I'm gonna make as much noise about what I do as I can. And that's just jumping in between genres of like, yeah, you've got your heavy riffs, and then like I'm like rapping over it, and then there's like I'm sort of doing this falsetto sort of bit over an electronic sort of thing.
Yeah, I noticed those things, and being a musician, you get to hear it. You know, you get to analyze things. You know, and that's why I thought I'm listening to something, I'm watching something different.
Yeah.
You know, so where did the video? How did the video come into play with the music? What was your inspiration between, like, in regards to the video? Like, because it's a bit different, you know?
So the video clip, well, the video clip, it was great because I was supported by the Boîte. They bless them. Supported by the Boîte. They helped put together a team, which was pretty much like, they helped put together. They put me with a collaborator, that sort of. It was really weird. The collaborator. Sorry, I'll get back on course. But yeah, the collaborator was there just videoing a photo shoot we were doing, and he just heard me talking about my music, and it's like, this is cool. And he sort of mocked up like a little behind the scenes in the sort of way that I was talking about the photo shoot. He was just sort of there, just taking behind the scenes things. So that was thanks to the Boîte. Like, Cherub Rocket's that's the handle of my videographer, my visual collaborator. But he just sort of heard me talking about the music, and he was just taken behind the scenes of a photo shoot. And then he sort of said, "Hey Des, I've just thrown together this cool 10-second clip of you doing the photo shoot, but I've made it kind of look cool, and it kind of looks sci-fi or like fantasy sort of style." And I was like, I said to him, "This is incredible. Imagine what we could do if we actually had purpose. If there was an intent to all right, let's make a 3-minute 20-second video for Rebel." So we got together, and we, being an independent musician, there are all sorts of things that you want to sort of. We went with the punk rock. That's sort of way. Like there's certain things like, all right, I might not have label backing or anything like that to have, this whole thing. So it's like, all right, let's not do a narrative. Let's do a movement piece. Okay. So you can see the movements are going on, and I'd go away and I'd hire dance spaces so I could, practice whichever choreography I was going to do. But the fortunate thing was there was no narrative. It wasn't like, oh no, he has to start at point A and then get to point B. Okay. It was like, no, there's enough that we can sort of create something visual that will hopefully sort of amplify certain parts of the lyrics and certain beats in the music, that doesn't have to be sort of in sequence. So
was it natural for you? For that?
Yeah, well, all right.
The flow, was the flow there, or did you find some things that you think, maybe it's not gonna work, or it's gonna work, or did it sort of was it organic? Was it sort of like, well, this has felt right,
So first and foremost, it was really cool because I trusted Leon, who's Cherub Rocket. That's the handle. I trusted Leon because the way he just mocked up something when he wasn't even there to do that. He was just sort of there to take video of me doing a photo shoot. Yep. The way he mocked that, I was like, all right, he gets exactly what I'm talking about. Yep. So I said to him, all right, we're talking like sort of sci-fi, and then I'm going to do a lot of body movements that sort of would be I don't know if there's going to be a plagiarism thing here, but in terms of say Marvel films, like superhero films, because there's a lot of. If you watch a superhero film and if you watch it with, say, the sound turned off, you see there's the way they move and the sort of things they do. You can sort of There's like a language. There's a really strong language in different characters and the way they do things. So I'd be like, all right, so this superhero does things this way.
That's an interesting approach.
Yeah, well, because when I'm making music, I go on a lot of tangents, but when I'm making music,
that's fine.
I will put a sci-fi movie on, or an anime like the cartoon, anything. Yeah. I will put that on in the background, just on mute, just while I'm making music, while I'm rehearsing, while I'm rehearsing, and it's just on. And when you watch something, this goes back to the whole storytelling. When you watch something without the sound, you can sort of see there is a language in the way characters move, or the way a director.
Interesting approach.
Yeah, or the way a director I'll watch. So I love I'm a huge fan of so many directors. I have like vision boards and mood boards about directors.
I was going to ask you about that, but
yeah.
you've already mentioned
sorry,
that. Hey, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
But yeah, there's if it's a well done film, you can sort of put the sound off, and you can still sort of understand. All right, what are the motivations here? What are they doing? Because the way their body is, or the way that it's shot. Say if someone's shot from like down to up or up to down, you can be like, oh, they might be feeling a bit scared or feeling lonely because it's a wide shot and it's just them in the middle of like a street or something. Or it's like, oh no, it's heroic because we're shooting up, and that's like, oh yeah, that's them.
It's the technique, yeah.
Yeah, this is them stepping up to the call to action or the call to adventure. So I was like, all right, I want this video clip, the Rebel video clip. I want it to, if it's on mute, hopefully it's not on mute, but if someone's watching it on mute, it's like, oh, there's a kind of, hopefully it's a clear representation of like someone doing a statement piece through their movements.
Yep.
I hope that makes sense. Like, yeah, like
it does make sense, because when I was watching it and listening to it, as I said, the music's a bit different to the actual clip, and I enjoyed it, and now that I actually understand where it's all coming from now.
Yeah,
you know, and that's a very good approach. It's clever.
Well, it's Valentino. Thank you very much. But yeah, it is just that if someone reads the lyrics, I want them to understand. Oh, that's what the statement is. If someone hears the music, it's sort of heavy. So it's like, oh, that is a very what's the word? It's a very
aggressive.
Yeah, very aggressive. Yes, exactly. Very aggressive. The way that the beats are done with the guitar, and then if you would put it on mute and just watch the visuals, it'd be like, oh, there's a very aggressive. There's some movements in there that are like, there's some sort of things that are like sort of, you know, you might see in like some Pacific Islander dances. There's some shots that like, it's like, oh no, this is a hero shot, or this is a defiant shot, or this is like a. So there's for the lyric, for the music, and the visual, I was like hoping that you'd still, if you just pick one of those, you'd still understand the purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get you. Yeah, it's, you really want to relay that. That's what you're doing, right? You want to give people the opportunity to actually identify the purpose.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Not shut away, maybe, but give them that story, give them that journey, you know, and you've done that quite well, you know.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you
good
very
on
much.
You. Now, we mentioned the Boite before.
The Boite, yes.
The great Boite. We've got
Team
Alan
Boite
here as well, you know. You're very well connected with the Boite, and the Boite, as you mentioned, helped you with your, I suppose, your journey as well. And you're part of the Boite portfolio project. What does that entail? Where does Desmond put himself in that portfolio and that project?
Well, it's interesting. Like, so the Boite, it's like the inaugural portfolio project where they chose creatives from, you know, culturally diverse backgrounds, and I was very surprised when I got accepted, because culturally diverse is correct, but I'm not directly, so like I've got Papua New Guinean, born in Papua New Guinea, I've got African blood, I'm raised by an English father, so I don't have like an anchor of where I am, and I moved around so much. So I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, but I don't have like, oh, I'm making Papua New Guinean music or Tanzanian music or whatever. So I was very surprised when, and I was very grateful that they said, Des, we heard some of your stuff and like you're on, like we can have you as part of the project. But I guess this goes back to like Rebel, and I was like, oh, well, I don't actually have like an anchor point of like, oh, I'm telling the story of a Pacific Islander with African blood who's raised by English father. You know what I mean? Like,
I know exactly what you mean. And the Boite is very well music orientated.
Yeah,
right?
100%. It's incredible music.
Maybe they're looking at diversifying, eh, Ellen?
Yeah. It's diverse. It's
maybe diversifying a bit more.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was worried that there was just too much going on, but like thankfully they accepted me, and they put together like So for the portfolio project, they put together like photo shoots, and that's where I met Leong, who became the videographer. I was there for a photo shoot. We were all there for a photo shoot, and he just sort of happened to have his camera there and mock up.
It was all meant to be.
Incredible trailer. Yeah. Thanks to the bot just saying, oh, let's get a videographer there just to take some behind the scenes stuff. And then they helped. Yeah, they supported the Rebel music video.
Yep.
Because we were going to do some. Like there was opportunities to do like a live music video or like a live performance sort of thing. And I said, oh no, I really, this person that you've teed up at the photo shoot, I think we can make something that like is like something that I want to show all the time to as many people as possible. So they were really cool in the fact they're like, all right, Des, go make your So go make your passion piece. Go make your passion piece for the Rebel music video with, all my stunting and hamming it up in front of the camera. And then they've obviously got a showcase coming up with the different acts. They've got a 2-night showcase, and I'm looking forward to that because there's some they're all incredible musicians, and I've been fortunate enough to collaborate with a few of them just in live spaces or even in just some songwriting as well. So I'm looking forward to that, and I can't thank the bot enough.
Are we expecting looping and all of that?
So with mine it's I will be doing live looping, beatboxing, electric guitar, all that jazz. A lot of talking, unsurprisingly. Yeah, a lot of what's the word? Just a lot
engagement.
of
Let's just put a lot of engagement.
Yeah, a lot of exposition. Oh well, here's this song and this is what. So I've got to make sure that I keep an eye on the time when I'm doing that. I'll probably do it. I'll lay a loop and then I'll express.
Maybe you can get Ellen just to help with the wave or something.
Yeah, just like, all right, just wrap it up, wrap it up. You're only 2 songs in. No, but for the showcase in October, it will be me solo. I'm opening up the flights. I call it like a mini festival, but the flight sort of I'm gonna call it mini flight festival.
Yeah.
And I'll open that up and I'll come on with my effects pedals, loop pedals, electric guitar. I might throw in a drum. I might bring my drum pad down. It's all still sort of
experimental.
Like it's all still being cemented just because it's like, all right, I've only got this much time on the clock. Is it better to streamline and just go guitar? But I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to it because it is just a chance to express myself so we're doing it at Music Market in like a stunning, it's going to sound incredible. Yep. The whole night's going to be incredible.
Well, you've got all the music people in that hub sort of a thing. So you've got audio engineers, you've got all it's a whole music hub at the Collingwood Yards, yeah?
Yeah, so a lot of the creative spaces in Victoria, they have offices around there.
That's right.
So hopefully on Thursday the 6th of October, they're all there and at 7 p.m. cheering on the boat, and hopefully they'll remember my name at the end of it.
I'm sure they will. Look, I want to wish you all the very best, not only with the night, but in your future. I think you've got a lot of potential. Just do what you're doing. You're on the right track. I think it's good to see people who are thinking a bit outside of the box and outside of the industry itself. And I think you're gonna do a lot of great things. So congratulations. It's really good to have you on and pick your brains as well.
Valentino, thank you very much for having me on. I do go on a bit, but it's great to be here.
It's all good. That's what we're here for, and hopefully we can do this again later on and see what you've done and where you've progressed to, and we'll take it from there. But once again, thank you very much. Desmond, it's been a pleasure. You do have your websites or YouTube channels.
Just go Desmond Mase, Google that, Instagram, YouTube. Desmond Mase is just my name. There's nothing there. Valentino, I want to say thank you to you and the Yesteryear team. So
not a problem at all. Look, and I would like to also thank the Yesteryear Revival for these beautiful premises here, and also my production team as well. Cake Eclipse for the beautiful cakes here as well. And till next time, thanks once again, and thanks, Desmond.
Thank you.
And all the very best. Hope you enjoyed the Strike a Chord podcast. Be sure to visit valentinoflamenco.com to access more podcast episodes, news, and other projects that I'm currently working on. Thanks for listening and watching.